Welcome everybody to another edition of King's Court with JJ. All new episode dropping right now. We're going to be talking about sports, music, entertainment, you name it. A special guest or two may be popping in, so feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you enjoy. I do hope you enjoy another season of King's Court with JJ, and I have some awesome news to share with you. Of course, thanks for tuning in once again. It's been quite a while. Been on a roller coaster lately, but an all new season is back, and I can't wait to share some of the new things we have going on. And I have a very special show for you guys, and I have some very awesome, talented ladies. The OGs are in the house and they're going to be joining me for a very, very special show today. If you have not heard the news, yes, the Spurs fully excited about having them in the NBA Finals. But if you're a true fan like me and appreciate the game in general, not just on the court, off the court, and the little things that go behind the scenes, you're going to want to tune in to this. The Spurs San Antonio Silver Dancers are back, and I have some of the original OGs joining me today. So I want to welcome Rosalind, Mill, and Nicole. Thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
A pleasure.
How are
Thank you
you
for
guys
having me.
doing?
Hello. How is everyone doing? Let
Nice.
me get let me get my camera on here.
No
Sorry.
worries. No worries. I am super excited to have the OGs of the original Silver Dancers on the show. Um, I'll tell you what, this has been pretty cool to have. I'm really excited to hear that the Silver Dancers are back. I mean, who isn't? Um, so let's just get to it. Where were you guys when you found out they were coming back? Who wants to start?
Well, I tell you, I started getting text messages from the most unlikely friends, not even silver dancers. A friend of mine, his name is Rick, he said, so what's going on with the silver dancers? And I said, so you tell me. And then, of course, different people start texting and calling and sharing what they know. So that's how I found out.
Nice.
I found out through social media. I was scrolling, I'm off, and I was like, what? They're back? Like literally probably between 11 minutes from when they posted.
Nice. Nice. What about you, Nicole?
Yeah, I think Mel and I our phone I think starts going off at the same time, and so we then kind of connect, and I've got someone sent me a message and they said, so I coach cheerleading still currently, and one of my old kids sends me a text and she's like, bring it back, coach, come on. And I look and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then Mel and I start texting. It was just crazy. Everyone, I started my phone just started going off.
You know, when I think of the silver and it's funny, I was moving some stuff today and I have like the posters, like
Woo.
of all the years, you know, some of the newer ones. And I was briefly talking to Rosalind because I was still trying to figure out like whose transition was when. Mill, I remember you on the 99 squad. Unfortunately, I don't remember much of it, but I do remember some. And come to find out, Rosalind was like the original choreographer.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty cool to know. Like I didn't know that. So I get a little
You know,
history.
let me just share with you a really interesting story. So, the Spurs had had a dance team back in the late 70s, early 80s, and they were called Quicksilver.
Okay.
And the lady who choreographed them was very, very good. But I don't think San Antonio at that time was ready for kind of a Las Vegas-y, showgirl kind of thing. And they only lasted a couple of months. So, fast forward to 91, and I wrote trying to be very professional, wrote a letter to the Spurs and said, "Hey, look, I think you guys need to, institute a dance team, and I think I'm a person who could, help you guys do that." Well, they wrote me a letter and said, "Thanks for your letter, but we're not interested." And I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna take that." I said, "There's all kinds of talent here in San Antonio, and I know people who could put this together." So, unbeknownst to the Spurs, I booked a halftime routine,
Oh wow.
and the I had a cheerleading studio at the time called Cheers. And so I
Mm-hmm.
had my kids from 5 years old all the way up to about 16. And those children, those little girls performed about 2 minutes of a 7-minute halftime. And then I put together a group of women, had their costumes all black and silver, and we ran out afterwards. And the crowd went crazy. And someone grabbed my arm at the end of the performance and said, "Someone wants to meet you." Well, that someone was a gentleman by the name of Russ Bookbinder, who was the director of marketing at the time. And he said, "Wow, that was very interesting, young lady. You and I need to talk." I said, "Sure, that'd be great." So this was a Saturday night. Tuesday morning, rather, I was in his office, and that's how the Silver Dancer started.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
91. And like I was sharing with you, we did the fourth season, which was an arena football team
uh-huh.
for like 2 months, and then transitioned into the 92 fall season of the Spurs.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Fun
Yes.
fun fact is I was actually a part of Rosalind's studio growing up. She was my first coach instructor ever to for the cheer and dance world, and that exact performance she's talking about when she said she had 2 minutes of the young kids perform, I was actually in that performance, that she speaks about as the younger girls. I was not old, I was not the older girls, but back then I was the younger girls performing as part of her studio. So I think it's bizarre how it all comes,
Full
how it all works
circle.
out.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Hmm.
That's pretty
Wild.
cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So, I mean, when I think of Silver Dancers, I think of the full routines, the choreography, the uniform, a lot of that stuff. Somebody brought up, oh my god, the chops, or what do you call those things? The
Yeah. Chaps.
chops. Like,
Yes.
I can't wait to see them on dancing. And I think of the performance with Will Smith. I think of, the 2007 championship team when they were dancing with Christina Aguilera and everybody like that. That's what I think of when I think of the Silver Dancers. Um, Going to a game, when I was little, going to a game just meant, oh, I'm watching the Spurs. I mean, in the arena, the Hemisphere Arena, to the Alamo Dome, to the AT&T Center, but I never thought about everything that goes behind the scenes until I was actually part of the Spurs Sport and Entertainment family. And that was through Game Ops, of course. I was able to experience that and become very close friends with some of these dancers, that the hard work that you guys put in and day out to learn the routines, to stay in shape, for one, because it's not easy. Looking at everything they put in behind the scenes and the sponsorships and everything that go into that. I met Mel through a arena football team. Um, Jessica Marie, a former Spurs Silver Dancer, was one of our choreographers for our dance team. And I remember telling her, because I was the director at the time, I remember telling her for the talents, I want it ran just like when you were with Raquel, or just like the original Silver Dancers. I want the girls to be fit enough to be able to look good in these routines, enjoy what they're doing,
and make the fans feel something special aside from basketball, something memorable. And, not everybody that goes to a game is an adult. There's kids, there's young girls, there's inspiring to look for different things. And I know my little cousins were like drawn to this. Mel, one, Ilea. I think you know Ilea, which is Stephanie Montiel's daughter. She was 7 years old when her mom performed at the Spurs game. And that was the one thing she said, someday I'm going to be a Spurs silver dancer. And she was out there, as a San Antonio Talents dancer and then became a Spurs silver dancer. And I tell you what, seeing that, remembering exact picture I took of her with some of the dancers, that's what it's all about, So to hear they're back is exciting, but I hear you guys started some prep classes I saw online. What made you guys do that, to help get this kicked off?
So, I own a cheer and dance facility called San Antonio Spirit. And I also have a former silver dancer who works for me, Desiree Hernandez. There is a ton of silver dancer alum that are from, I would say, probably the years of 2014 to when they got rid, or when the team was no longer. Um, Taylor Eddington is a dancer that an alum. There's a few of them. She led one of my classes, but Desiree and Taylor, I think, were the ones that they said, "Hey, let's." Desiree's like, "We should do some prep classes so that these girls can get in." They with ton of the thing is everyone, all the alumni are very excited that the program was coming back to the organization, right? Because we all remember what it was for us. So we were like, this is exciting. Let's help all of these other women who all, just like you just described Ilea, which I know Ilea, love her, amazing dancer. Um, who all dreamt of doing it like us. Let's help them pursue their dream like we all did. So that's just kind of where we started. Like, let's just have some prep classes. Tons of the alum were, like I said, from the years were willing to teach them. And I said, let's do it. I have a facility to be able to make that happen. And there's a bunch of alumni who are wanting to do it. Why not? We all want to empower these women, because just like the story you shared about Ilea, we all felt that at one point. We all wanted to be that dancer. We all wanted to be that person. So that's why kind of where it got started.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be run the same way? Like, is this going to be what we all missed and loved, or is it more going to be like a cheer thing? Because, I would love to know who the real director is. And I would love to see somebody like Rosalind, or somebody who was a former dancer. And I'm talking about a real OG, not a one-off OG. I'm talking like OG, like I was on the Spurs Silver Dancers for like 5 years. I danced with blah, 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 blah. That's what I want to see. I want to see the original Silver Dancers. I don't want to see a cheer squad. Don't get me wrong. The hype squad's cool and all, but I want to see those routines. I want to see a routine. I don't want no cheerleader, but I want to see a dance team. Do you think it's going to be like that, or is it going to be more like a cheer squad?
So it's hard for us to tell you that because we're not part of that. So everything that we've seen read online. Um, but we do have, again, connections, right? Like from 92 to the people Nick has coached. I did cheer and dance for 20 years. I had UTSA for 10 years. I had UIW for 10 years, both teams cheer and dance. So, like, I'm still very connected to a lot of the things that go on, even at those campuses, like outside of that, outside of dance. And people that went to like the information session and talked to us and let us know, like, they're not going to be the same. What we do know is that they're not going to be performing as much as you would like. Um, as in everything, as I've talked to Rosin and Nicole and all the old ones, we know it's going to evolve, right? But if you're going to come back with a tradition, like you said, I feel like you should have reached out to somebody that was part of the tradition because it's been years, right? But
Mhm.
yes, there's going to be a change. But like you said, the fans are looking for what they were, what they think. And even those young girls, like whoever was a junior silver dancer back in the 2017-18 season, if you were a junior silver dancer and now they're coming back, now you're the age to try out, you're expecting that. And to hear that it's not really that, everyone's hashtag iconic, like silver dancers, the OGs, like bring them back. Like Rick Nicole's name comes up, and Rosin's name comes up, and it's like Raquel's name comes up, and then you have like the new choreographer Katie. She changed it slightly, but it still had that silver dancer feel,
Mhm.
And it's hard when it just pops up and you only gave these girls 6 days to apply.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So when it was announced, we were like, I was counting. I'm like, their application is closed on the 28th. So you only gave people 6 days. And I gave this example, like, what about those girls that are good enough to go and they're like, well, there's nothing here for me. Let me just go to college in another city, right? But
Mhm.
now they're like, dang it, I already signed, I already have my dorm, like I can't even try out because I already committed somewhere else.
Mhm.
So when you give someone 6 days, when Hype Squad had a whole month, it's hard to help everybody. And thank God Nicole opened the gym. Like the first day, we had 80 people show up, and we didn't lie to anybody. The next day, she had 120 people show up. We have to cap it this week, but
Oh.
we're just telling them what we know was our experience.
Mhm.
We can't share what their experience is going to be. I
Mhm.
can't share what Silver Dancers is going to look like
Mhm.
because we weren't there. And in talking to Rosin, I'm sure she can speak on this a little bit on like what makes it a tradition? Like what could have been better? What could have been different?
Y- Rosalind, I'm gonna let you handle that. Like, what?
Sure. I think it remains to be seen whether they will be the same team. I hope they're not the same. I mean, we all hope that they're better,
Mhm.
but in order to be better, I think it would be very, very helpful to understand the history and the legacy and the standards and the excellence and the work ethic and the culture of the silver dancers, and hearing that from, as you referenced, hearing that from some of the OGs, I think that can, help tremendously. And what Mel said, I live downtown. I live literally right across the street from where Project Marvel is going to go up. And it's very, very exciting. That's years down the road, but now is the time, it seems to me, where the Spurs organization, since they're wanting to, have this resurgence of the Silver Dancers, it's like, hey, this is a big deal. Instead of being just a San Antonio thing, to Mel's point, I'm sure there are very talented women, literally statewide, nationwide,
Mhm.
even internationally, who may want to come and be a part of this.
Mhm.
And to be able to reach that type of audience, that takes a little bit more time. You're talking about putting out the word, at least a month in advance for people, to get ready for it. But I think, where we're all coming from is that we want to see them be successful. And if they're, like Mel and
Mhm.
Nicole are offering these prep classes, Mel and Nicole are extremely talented, extremely seasoned, extremely knowledgeable educators in this form of art. And it
Mhm.
is an art. And not everybody understands that. Not everybody has had that experience. And not everyone can teach it.
No.
And that's what you want. The foundation has been laid through grit and hard work and experiences and highs and lows. You know, the Silver Dancers, when I was doing it, it's like, hey, the Spurs like that routine, but they didn't like that. So it's like, okay, we're going to change this. We're going to try to, you know, think about different aspects of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, there's little kids that are sitting in the audience. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's 2-year-olds and there's 92-year-olds. How do you appeal to everyone?
Yep. Yep. You're right. I
So it's just, and we're here, you know, obviously Mel and Nicole are there helping the new generation, which is great because they're going to start off, you know, 2 or 3 steps above what everyone else did, which is going to make the team that much better. But experience sometimes is beneficial,
It is. It is. And
and
you know,
wisdom.
it, that is true. And when you speak about the wisdom, I let me let me point out something. I'm not looking for, let's see. I'm going to try to put this as nicely as I can. Okay? I'm looking for girls that, just like the DCC, are going to
Yeah,
fit the form. I We're not talking about a JV squad or high school basketball game and we're going to cheer and then we're just going to get up and dance. No. I'm talking about, we want
professional.
professional
Sure,
dancers on the
sure.
floor, on the court.
Yeah.
You know, the Texas Longhorns basketball team has them. You know, they have a cheer team and they have a dance team that goes out. So I would expect that we kind of keep that same formation that we did before. Being a former game director with the Talons Mill, you know, I was I was pretty harsh at times, and you know, I apologize to anybody's feelings I may have hurt over the years, but I want girls to look the part. I want them to fit and look entertaining, and I want smart girls. I don't want somebody flaking out in the middle of a routine, but I also want girls to know the history of the team they are on. And, you know, that may sound weird, but just like the DCC, if you don't know part of the Dallas Cowboy history, you're not on the team. You know, if you don't get the routine with Kelly and I forget the other choreographer's name. If you don't get the routine with them, you better go work with Kitty down at that studio and get it done because you're not going to be on the field, right? And I know former silver dancers who have gone on to the DCC, and
Yes.
it's no joke over there either. It's a
Yes.
little even tougher because
Mm.
you really got to fit the part. You really got to, and and when I'm not just talking about I'm talking about the mental thing, because these former silver dancers that I know, you guys just aren't dancers. You guys are well educated women that work hard day in and day out, whether it be on the court, dance, or off the court. Realtors, social media
Teachers.
directors, teachers.
Absolutely.
You know, you guys are smart. And that's the one thing I want. I don't want just some young kid coming on here and being like, "Hey, I'm 18 years old. I'm going to cheer for the Silver Dancers, for the Spurs." No.
That's why DCC has been so successful,
Mm-hmm.
because they have their standards and their expectations are so high, and that's what Silver Dancers
Is about.
in my era, I can tell you, that's what it's all about. Because y- you know, you not only do they dance on the court, but these women go out into
The community.
the community and they represent the Spurs at schools. They represent the Spurs at store openings. And so you have to have someone who can meet the public,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and can represent.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. and again, kudos to DCC because they're a marketing machine because they have set the expectation. And if you don't hit the expectation, you aren't going to be on the team.
Yeah.
And that's what Silver Dancers needs to be and was and is and still should be.
Yep. And
I'm sorry. I was gonna say there was just like a difference. So like when I came to San Antonio, I came on a track scholarship, right? Silver Dancers wasn't. I mean, I knew about them. Obviously, I was on year three. Like they had just started. But I started taking dance, and I danced in high school and middle school too. But I started taking the adult classes with Rosin, which is how I met Nick. But she was younger, and so I wasn't able to try it anyways. Like I said, until the next year because you had to be 19 back then. The tryout age wasn't 18. The tryout age was 19. So even like when Nick graduated, she had already been through the Rosin phase and seen the Silver Dancer. So like she was probably ready to try out, but she was 18, so she couldn't. Like we had to wait for the right time for Nick to try out or anyone else because there was an age limit. Like they just didn't take you straight out of high school. And I don't know if that makes a difference because I know that within the years of Silver Nurses, the age did change to 18 because there are a lot of talented women. But I think that sometimes that makes a difference when it comes to like maturity and again, like, what do you want to do in college? And when you're like, well, I'm not sure, so you're just going to go into something studies because you're not sure yet. And so by the time you had us, I was the only, well, there was two rookies in my year, and then I was the only rookie that continued on. And I took all of those new women. There was people that were older than me that when their rookie year came, like I took them under my wing because I wanted us to be great. Had nothing to do with anything else. It was just like I want the team to look good. And like I said, Nick and I only got to dance together a year, but I'm like, what do you need? Like, where do you want to practice? I was always available for any of them because I know what the history was when it started in 1982.
Yeah, and I think what's important is that I mean, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but a lot of the alum, I will say, I feel again, it's like I mean, it really is like a sisterhood, right? You see the people who've come before you, um, and you feel honored to be able to continue that tradition. One thing I will say is I have completely enjoyed through hosting these prep classes, becoming meeting more of the Silver Dancer alum that came like after me. I mean, we were just having a joke the other day because it's like Mel and I look at our videos and we can't even watch them because they're from VHS tapes,
Yeah.
and like we get so jealous of I was talking to some of the other girls, who were in the last years of Silver Dancers, and they can post all these clips from social media during playoff time. They were doing like throwback to like being excited about finals, and it's like we're over here pulling out Polaroids and taking a picture of it to post on a Facebook or Instagram post. But my point to all of this is that at the end of the day, all of us as alum, we're excited that they announced that the dancers were coming back. But I think the one thing that we all just really are trying to be positive and hopeful is that all of these women get the opportunity to experience what we experienced. Again, like you said, at the level that we did, at the caliber, the quality, that is what made it so special and so impactful in our lives. And that's also the lasting impact that we made on Spurs fans and kids in the community and all the other things. It wasn't, we did it because we loved it and it was an honor. And we had to work hard in all realms of our lives to be able to represent as a Silver Dancer. So I think, we've been excited to kind of come together as alum and just try to be positive and hopeful that all of these other women will be able to experience that. However, if they don't, then the best thing we can do is just kind of accept that maybe it's not going to be, well, of course it'll never be the same experience for everyone, but we're just we just kind of are trying to accept the fact that if it isn't going to be that, well, then maybe they make it a different name, or just announce it. It's not going to be what everyone remembers because, a lot of us worked really hard to put down a tradition. And, like Melissa and I, we were teammates with Raquel. She then became a choreographer. I mean, she was under the direction of Roz at one point. Then she became the choreographer. So many of the girls now, like even that are teaching my prep classes, they were under the direction of Raquel, then moved into Katie. But again, it's all connected. We all are connected and we all know what it was to be a part of that team, whether you were there a year, 1 season, 10 seasons, 5 seasons. We all shared that same experience. And we as women want to be able to be like, yes, somebody else can experience that. So I don't know. For me, I'm just kind of like, if I can give a place for these ladies to kind of prepare, whether, it is or it isn't what it's going to be, at least there's that. And all of these alum can at least give like Mel said, we're just sharing what we experienced and what we can offer to help them. We have no idea because we're not still there, and we're definitely not claiming to know what's expected because we don't know, but we just tell them what we knew, and we just try to be helpful because at the end of the day, we're just trying to help them pursue the dream that we all were able to fulfill for ourselves.
And
I totally agree with you, Nicole. It's like all of the former silver dancers have a vested interest in the success of the current team. And when you spit out the silver dancer name, people know what that was, and they want to see it, if not the same, then better.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And if it's gonna be better, boy, let me tell you, you better bring it.
You better
You
bring it.
better bring it, because the sisters, and I'm talking from year one to both Mel and Nicole's comments, these women are still together.
Mhm.
They get together, they talk, they reminisce, and they
Yes.
have an interest in seeing it be the kind of experience that they went through. And
Mhm.
it was not easy. It was hard work, but they did it.
They did.
And if you're going to use that name, be careful with it, because it holds meaning. It
It
holds
does.
meaning.
It
Yeah.
holds meaning for me, and I wasn't even part of the team. Being part of
Yeah.
the organization, and like I said before, I tried to bring that. Mel will tell you, I try to bring that to the Talons. I tried to bring that to another previous football team, and it's hard because, for one, let's just put it out there. If you're expecting to make hundreds of dollars a game because they charge, $1,000 a ticket, just saying, you're not going to make it. But you are going to have to sweat it out and work your ass off in the gym day in and day out. And I say gym because you have to be in shape for what is expected. The expectation you guys have set, the expectations that other former dancers have, set. It's not easy looking that good. It's not
No.
easy. It's not easy doing a routine, taking a break, and then running back out there on a hot timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy. And us as a director, I mean, I would be in your ear, get your butts back out there. It's a hot timeout. You're dancing. You don't know when you're going to go back out there. Basketball is a little different from the arena football world, but there's one or two routines you got to learn. And then sometimes you are the show at halftime. So you got to learn maybe 3 routines in a week. And you still got to stay physically fit. You still got to be a mom. You still got to be a student. You still got to be a full time employee somewhere. And you're still possibly a student. So to be able to manage all that and still know the history and everything else of your team that you're on, like I said, we're hiring. The mentality has to be high. And I know some of these girls are, I'm still very good friends with some of these. They're all over the United States, some of them right now. I got some in New York, some in LA, some in Dallas. I mean, these girls are super smart. They work hard, they worked hard, and they put a lot on the back burner to be successful.
So true.
And it's I watch them sacrifice day in and day out, and I can only imagine. You know, you watch the DCC on Netflix documentary, and that's your glimpse into what it kind of used to be. We're not even that strict. I'm gonna say I don't think I was as strict as them. I was kind of close because I want it to be just as good. You know, every organization should want to have that high standard, and I think the DCC, the Laker girls, even the Miami Heat girls, you know, they have that high standard. That's what they're known for. And that's what the Silver Dancers were known for. And if we're not going to go back to that, I'm going to be disappointed as a fan.
Mm,
And I
mm.
think all of you would be too. I think the fans would be. I remember, I don't know if you guys did it back in the day, but remember when they had like the older women come out and dance? What were they called? The Sterling Silver Dance.
Uh-huh.
My my grandma um was a huge dancer back in the day. I mean, back in her younger years. And she would go to the game just to watch the Silver Dancers. Her favorite dancers were Tina and Laura, like she stuck to glue like them. She just loved them. And they were on the team for so many years. And I mean, she went to the game in the walker just to make sure she went
Oh,
through the Silver Dancer line to see them and
that's
to watch
awesome.
them perform. And I tell you what, it's people like that that we owe this to keep that tradition that they remember, you know. And I really, really hope, like you said, they hold up the tradition. So why don't you guys go in? I know we're kind of short on time, but hey, these prep classes, tell us a little bit more about them. How can they still kind of get in? And, you know, Rosalind, if you can share any tips, feel free. I mean, I know there's some girls that may share this with their dance teams. So let me hear it right now. You guys fill me in.
So I'll
Well,
start at the
okay, go
tipping
ahead,
point,
Mel.
and
Go
and
ahead.
then Mark will give the tips, and then
Sure.
Nick can tell you how to do the classes. So, with Nick's idea about having a prep clinic, right? We're like, well, what do we do? Well, what would we normally do? You do it across the floor. Again, we're talking silver dancers, right? So you do it across the floor, you teach your routine, and then we broke it up into groups. But because she had 80 people show up the first time, we like had to break it up into smaller groups. But we did like, I believe that one was a pom the first day. So then the second day she had 120. And we're like, oh my god, like we're gonna do more groups. Still do across the floor, and now she's gonna Taylor taught a jazz. So now here we are today, and she's like, "We're gonna have to cap it, guys. Like, there's no way because we're doing them a disservice by having so many." And so now there's a cap, and so there's a couple classes left. We're just trying to help you. We're trying to give you stuff, and then today, like, I'm gonna do hip hop, but again, we're going back to Silver Dancer times, the pro dance style, your pro action style, all of that. And what we're doing at the end is just giving you tips. Like, this is what we know, this is what you need to do, this is what gets the crowd going, this is what you can get from a judge. Do these kinds of things, like feel the other people, feed off of somebody else, get that. If you learn other people, then you'll see like, oh, I see that judge is smiling at her because she's doing X, Y, Z. Well, let me see if I can do that. And so that's what we're giving. We don't know, but that's what we're giving because that's what we know we got people. I'm sure Rosin has other tips from the other end, being the choreographer and the judge. Like her tips are going to be different. Roz?
Yeah, but before Rosin goes into those tips, so just to talk about the prep classes too, like just so you know, like we have Desiree Hernandez, who, like I said, she was like in the later years. Taylor Eddington, and I'm forgive me, I'm not sure. I think Taylor might have been captain. I don't recall. We have Erica De Hoyos. Like I really want to give credit to these. Like you call us the OGs, and we really are the OGs. And today, Mel and I are like stretching out, and because she's going to teach a hip hop and I'm going to demo kind of like old days when she and I used to coach, and instruct and dance. We're going to kind of get back at it and try to be the duo that we used to be. But like Taylor Eddington, she was I think her face was always very visible with Silver Dancers in the later years. Desiree Hernandez, Erica De Hoyos. We have Marissa Guzman, I believe is her last name. Forgive me if that's incorrect. But these girls, we're the OGs. These are like the newer, these were like the later years. And they also are teaching some classes. And I thought it was very important to have, then we have some of the Silver Dancers that were alum, like from our years, that were there giving tips and, just bringing energy and encouraging these women. Like I said, like the point of these prep classes again was not, it was to try to bring all eras of the alum, not just one area, or one, time frame. As many that wanted to come. Deborah Ann was another, and some of these women are also they're directors for high school, dance teams. And it was important for me, even if I'd never met them, but they're alum, come on down, come help us teach, bring the energy, whatever you want. Because again, for us as alum, we're excited. We want we loved hearing that they were coming back. And we wanted to do it together. So that's kind of also with these prep classes. If anyone out there who is alum and maybe they didn't know we're having them, like, I welcome you to come. We're all one. You know what I mean? Whether you danced at the Alamo Dome, whether you danced at AT&T Center, whatever it was called when you danced, like, it doesn't matter. We were all part of the legacy. And so that's kind of, I do want to give credit to some of these younger years, aside from the OGs and all my Silver Dancer sisters that support us. But because again, we just want to help these women try out. So that's kind of, if they're down, they can go to our website and they can sign up for these prep classes. And these we're doing prom, jazz, hip hop, everything. And then now, Rosalind, take it away with your tips.
I'm going to go back to holding an audition where there's 500 women wanting to try out for 15 slots. What makes you stand out? How are you going to grab the attention of professionals, judges, lay people, or whatever? What makes you so different? And I think, and I'm going to speak because, this is something that Nicole and Mel are extremely good at as far as teaching is concerned. They recognize what your potential is. They see sometimes hidden talents that you don't even recognize, and they draw it out of you to make you shine. And during my time as a choreographer for the Silver Dancers, that's what I wanted to see. There are a lot of great dancers. There's people that have had cheer, jazz, hip hop, pom, all kinds of stuff. But there has to be a spark. There has to be a spark. There has to be joy. There has to be, even though you're dancing as a team, there has to be an authenticism to you. And that's what every single woman, who comes out to try out for the Silver Dancers needs to bring to the audition and needs to bring during performances, at the games. It's like, hey, I see you, Mel. I saw that, and just as a choreographer, you see 14 women dancing all at the same time and you think, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. Oh, I saw you, Nicole. I saw that, girl. Yes, I liked it. You put that little exclamation point on that particular step. And, I'm just, all you women out there who want to try out for the team, go to these classes. It's just going to give you an edge, and that's what you're going to need. Find someone who cares, find someone who can teach you, find someone who's had that experience and who can speak and teach from experience, and listen to them. But also know that you're an individual with your own individual style, your own individual talent. And that's what we want to see. I don't want to see a carbon copy of anybody else. I want 14 or 15 or 16 different women who all come together who have extremely similar work ethics and desire to be exceptional working together. And that's where the magic happens. And that's what the Spurs, that's what the Silver Dancer, the new choreographer, that's what they need to recognize and bring. Because if you can't bring it, then don't come to the game, don't come to the party. Because that's who we were. And these girls, Mel and Nicole, can tell you how hard they worked. These girls ran for like 2 or 3 miles before every practice. There was sweating. Sometimes there was crying. There was going to the gym. But you know what? That's what it's competition.
It is.
Every single routine was a friendly competition to outdo yourself.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like I saw, when a routine was taught from day one, it's like, okay, here we go. Taught it tonight. Come back 2 days from now and let me see something. Let me see it. And that's the work ethic. That's the expectation. Every single time. I was never, ever, ever disappointed with any of the women who were silver dancers under my time, because they knew who they were, what they were capable of, and they were willing to bring it every single time. So that's what we really do hope for the new team.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I think you hit it on point, Rosalind. Like that's an everyday work ethic type thing that you hope everybody would bring day in and day out. You talk about how they ran and did these exercises. I remember Jessica Marie with the San Antonio Talents, and I got them she got the sponsorship for the training facility, and it was a guy named Gabriel who put these girls in shape and had like I think 2 months or 3 months almost before the season started. And even at that, it might have been sooner. But I went to those workouts. I
Mhm.
took part in, and I swear to God, I wanted to quit in like 10 minutes. Like I wanted to just sit in the corner and mind my own business, because the work that you had to put in before practice, mind you.
People,
And
so many people don't realize that dancers are athletes.
mhm,
And the same things that the Spurs go through, they've got their trainers, they've got their weight people, they've got their strength and conditioning, they've got, X, Y, and Z. We have to do that too
mhm,
in order to put a quality product on the floor. you know yes, you've got a pretty face, yes, this and that, but it's like, hey, that can only take you so far.
mhm,
You've got to have it all.
mhm. Yep, that you do. That you do. Ladies, it has been so much fun to have you guys on. I want to thank you, all of you, for coming on today, kicking off another new season of King's Court with JJ. And I hope that we can all go to a game together and seriously enjoy this moment of this new team. I'm going to hold y'all to that we get to do
Okay.
this coming
Okay.
season,
Thank
because
you for having us.
I would love to sit and enjoy a game with you guys. And Mel, I like a good party. So I have a feeling we can have some good parties. But I really hope it's what we all want and expect. And if not, I don't want to be
Oh,
disappointed by the name.
if not, honey, we're going to say it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to have an all news show about that. Then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the fans I mean, again, they brought us back. Obviously, the fans saying it that wasn't bad, right? The Spurs have a lot to do with bringing them back, but I think like the fans spoke enough, and I think that if it's not like you said, the fans will speak again. And I just don't want it. I don't want it to be bad. Do you know what I mean? Like you want to continue good feedback. You don't want bad feedback because then, I mean, I'm not on the team, so I don't want to sound ugly, but it's not going to affect me. But it's going to affect silver dancers in general, like
The
all the work,
reputation.
the
And
Mm-hmm.
we want a
reputation,
stellar reputation
Mm-hmm.
all those
always.
that are coming to help, like all these ladies that are showing up. They're like, Nick wants to do it. Who's going to show up? And everyone like shows up. Like that's what we want.
Yeah.
So that's what worries me when people comment like, "Oh my God, they're bringing back. I hope they're the same." Blah blah. I'm like, well, they're going to be slightly different. However, I don't know what that's going to look like.
You
So
know, and this whole kind of situation also reminds me of the poor baseline bumps. You know, the baseline bumps were such a huge part. I mean, you went to the game and you saw it. Started off small and then grew and grew and grew until it was one big section. And then all of a sudden, bam. And I understand COVID, I understand this, and you know, people getting older that were part of the group and stuff going on, but it was already like two rows because I had season tickets next to them where they used to cover the whole DJ booth area. And that just broke my heart. And now you bring back the Jackals. It's 100% different. It's a better vibe. It's more up to date. So I think that's the expectation we're looking for in this. Either
Absolutely.
you're going to be the
Mhm.
same or you're going to be even better.
Yep.
And it starts with the off court, on court stuff, and this is one of the on off court start right here. It's either going to be the same or better, like you said. It has
and
to.
I'm sorry, and
And you know what? Nicole, Mel, and I are here just putting the word out there. If we can be of any assistance to
Mhm.
help that, to continue that tradition of excellence, we are here for it.
And what I am going to say is, I know this is, this is going to go live on YouTube,
Yeah.
but I want you guys to share it. I want you guys to share it with your upcoming classes, to learn, listen, to hear what a game director or an OG, a former director, you know, expects, and it's not just about the dance. It's about the game itself and knowing the history of your team and where you're coming from, whether you're from San Antonio or not. You better know something. You better know we've have 5 championships. You better know some of those retired jerseys, a couple at least. And you better know some of the players on the current roster. But we don't teach you. We're not going to treat you like the DCCs and make you sell season tickets, because if you didn't know that, they have to sell tickets to the game in the end zone just to be on the team.
Oh wow.
Mm,
So they have to sell 2 rows of tickets per game, aside from being a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys inside.
wow.
So it's not coming to that, I don't think, but that's how they get you. You got to be part of it. You got to want to succeed on and off the court, and you got to want your whole team in general to be successful. And you guys have so nailed it to the point. So I hope you guys will share this with
Yeah,
everyone in your classes. And
for sure. Yeah, and like I said, I think everyone, all the alum want that. Mel and I have been really excited to be able to get to know a lot of we're the OGs, the young guns, we call them. We look at them, they're like the young guns, but there's so many of them too that are still very active. Not that Mel and I are very active too, but there's just so many out there that can help. So exactly like Rosalind said, we're all here to help with the continue a legacy and share the knowledge and the passion. So.
And
Yes.
as I'm on air, I know somebody's gonna kill me for
Uh-uh.
probably not giving them a shout out. But Trudy, and Mel will tell you, Trudy was a former Dallas Cowboy Maverick dancer, and her expectation is just as, just as high as y'all's were, I'm sure, and even more so being from Dallas, you know. So same expectations over there. You got to be smart. You got to know the team. You got to know the routine, and you got to stand out, like you said.
Yeah.
And that to me is not just on the dance floor or the court or field or whatever. That's every day in life. That's a life lesson you just taught us, Rosalind. And I hope these young girls that are inspiring to be a dancer, or not even just a dancer, take that into your future endeavors and use that advice that you got to stand out. You got to shine on your own, and you got to make yourself look special.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Make us proud, girls.
Yeah, good luck to everyone. Thank you so much for having us.
All right, guys, keep it up. I wish you guys all the best. And like I said, we're going to party at a game real soon, I promise.
Definitely.
Let's do
Looking
it.
forward
Let's
to
do it.
All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys. Love y'all.
Bye.